The O'Reilly Factor, the #1 cable news show for 14 years running.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly. In the Factor follow-up segment tonight, how some in law enforcement view the president's executive order on immigration. You may remember a couple of weeks ago, 2 California police officers murdered by an illegal alien criminal who had been deported to Mexico a number of times, but came back and was not imprisoned. Earlier this week, the sheriff of Sacramento County posted a video where he spoke directly to Barack Obama.
Mr. President, my name is Scott Jones, and I'm the sheriff of Sacramento County, California. 2 weeks ago today, I had the unfortunate distinction of burying one of my deputies. His name was Danny Oliver, and he was shot a single time in the head during a casual encounter with the suspect. Why am I telling you this? Because this person is in this country illegally from Mexico. He has a significant criminal history, and on at least 4 prior occasions he was removed from this country, each time having no consequences for his actions. Only you are singularly responsible for the hands-off policy that exists in Homeland Security and its subsidiaries, including Customs and Border Protection.
Tonight, the president promised to beef up border protections, crack down on criminal aliens, but some don't believe him. I'm one of them, because why didn't he do it before? With us now, Ashley Jackson, former political affairs officer at the UN, and Andrea Tantaros, co-host of Outnumbered, seen on FNC at noon. Now, I don't want to be disrespectful to the President of the United States. I hope everybody understands that. That's not my role as a commentator. But President Obama, and you, Andrea, and you, Ashley, and of course me, have known for decades that this immigration border situation was broken. And the president had 6 years to do nothing, and he didn't do anything about it. This guy in Mexico kept coming back and back and back and back when it's a felony to do that. Nobody prosecuted him. There was no executive order to the Justice Department to prosecute him. The president did bupkis on it, nothing. So when he says it tonight, I'm a little, not buying that too much. And you say?
I don't think you're alone. Bill, we've seen in USA Today reported earlier this year that when the Department of Homeland Security testified on Capitol Hill, saying that it released those criminals, they were just nonviolent criminals, 36,000 of them in 2003. Not true, Bill. They were homicide criminals, they were rapists, they had committed drug trafficking, child trafficking, sex offenders.
Where did those stats come from that they were bad guys?
USA Today. They called out ICE and the Department of Homeland Security for lying to the American people. That's one reason I don't believe them.
Okay.
They released violent criminals before, and Bill, they told us, Jay Carney specifically, the border was secure. Everyone saw that footage of the kids pouring over the border.
The president made the point tonight, Ashley.
That was a lie.
That, the crossings are as low as they've been in 40 years or whatever. But the fact remains that this criminal, all right, got in here 4 times across that southern border. He was caught 3 times, served no jail time, even though that's a felony, to be deported and come back. Nothing. And the president for 6 years signed no executive order to deal with guys like that. So how can we believe him tonight?
Yeah. Well, isn't it better late than never? I mean, what the president might say is that Congress has failed to act. This is a temporary, almost emergency measure. It's addressing...
Why is it an emergency measure?
Well,
Why?
I think because we do need this reform.
Emergency?
Exactly to your point. We absolutely do need tighter border control. We need...
But he could do that executive order without doing the legitimacy of the other, and I'm just arguing right now that it looks like he's a phony.
Well, I mean, whether he's a phony or not is not the question. Are these the right measures? And I think at least, putting pressure on Congress, bringing attention to the fact that, we don't want to tear families apart. These aren't the threats to national security. Well, you know what he's tearing apart? He's tearing apart the country, because if he had waited 6 or 7 months and then the new Congress said, we're not going to do anything, he'd be, public opinion-wise, much stronger. Now, you don't like President Obama. I mean, you're not a fan of his, and I understand that. But you just saw Jose Vargas, right? You got to feel for Jose.
Sure.
He was sent here, he's 12, he's sent here and he stayed here and he got educated, and now he can see his mom, and his whole life falls in.
Bill,
so we have to take that into consideration.
I get it. I grew up in the restaurant business. How do you think my parents operated restaurants, right? Immigrants. My father came here from Greece.
But he came here legally, though.
Yes, but he didn't take a nickel from the government, and he wasn't a criminal. And so when you hear the president saying, we're going to operate properly, we're going to give background checks, they've already lied to us about that. They've already lied to to us that they secured the border, and they didn't.
Misled is a better word.
And when you say that he put pressure on Congress, no, he didn't. You say he's tearing apart the country, Bill, he's tearing apart the Constitution.
Well, we're going to get with that with Lori. One last question for you, Ashley. You know, when you have a president of the United States who goes out there and he makes an emotional argument, all right, that's what he did. It was an emotional argument. And then you say to yourself, look, it's more harm than good, because half the country is going to say, yeah, okay, probably not half, maybe 45, and 55 are going to say, you don't have the right to do that. The Congress has the right. You didn't. So you tear the fabric of the country. That's more harm than good. Last word.
I wouldn't say so. I think there's desperately needed action on immigration. This is a debate we need to be having, and if Congress needs to take legislative action, now is the time. I mean, this is it can supersede.
But he
what
could have
Obama's
waited. He
done.
should have waited, and believe me, this is going to ignite a firestorm. Ladies, thank you. Laura Ingraham on deck. Will the Supreme Court do anything about President Obama's controversial lawmaking play? Laura is next.